I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here today.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from previous meeting.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve minutes from the previous meeting. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Agenda,
I have nothing to add.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the proposed agenda. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Do you have other folks that are going to come today? Or? Okay, we'll wait a few minutes. All right, that's
I've
fine.
got a treasurer's semi-annual report to consider.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report.
Is there a second?
I'll second that
It's been
motion.
moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's semi-annual report. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We also have a recorder's quarterly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve recorder's quarterly report. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. We'll recess until 10:15 for our next scheduled. Okay, whoever would like to do the presentation.
Okay. I'm Jody Fisher from the Wall Lake Public Library, and Wall Lake is in charge of presenting the proposal this year. We take turns with our 8 libraries, and it's Wall Lake's turn this year. And I think you've had a chance to look through our proposal here, and we just wanted to thank you for all the continued support of our libraries, and the laptop lab that we were able to purchase last year has really been beneficial. We've had 7 classes. Basically, we're teaching, the digital information or the internet, like Wilbur and Windows 8 is the new internet classes that we're teaching. And we've had 7 classes already, and there's more scheduled for Shaler, Sac City, Early, and Lakeview. Libraries are community centers, technology hubs, and places to access digital information. And we understand that the available funding continues to shrink, but we were just asking for a 4% increase, which would be, I think, $587 per library. And that would be dispersed equally to Auburn, Early, Lakeview, Odie, Sac City, Shaler, and Wall Lake, with Lytton receiving half, because they have half with Calhoun County. And so we'd just like to thank you for your consideration of this request, and if you have any questions.
Don't believe so.
Think of it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
All right. And we've given you your templates, or we all do the same template, so you can kind of look at our information, and it's all on the same template, so you're looking at the same thing for every library.
Does Calhoun County contribute a comparable share to the Lytton?
Do you know, Myra?
Does Calhoun County contribute a comparable amount?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The answer is yes and no.
Would you like to explain that, Myra?
Ex-teacher.
Supposedly, they are one of the highest contributors in the state, Calhoun County. However, it's less than I get from Sac County.
Guys, pat yourselves on the back.
Because we distribute the money differently.
I see.
The larger libraries get more than the smaller libraries, so there's a big difference in,
Oh.
but we did.
I see.
The answer was yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're just now building the budget and we will contact someone once we've worked through this and
All right.
and we know you're important. I mean, there's no question.
You're good supporters too, we appreciate
Yes,
it.
yes, we appreciate all your support.
I would like to issue an invitation to come to our library and just to have the supervisors just see what it's like and know what your money is being spent for. So anytime you would like to, please feel free to come.
I even
All of
added-
us.
I've even added that little blurb, I do a weekly news thing for our local paper. And at one of our regional conferences that I went to, Bonnie, or not Bonnie, but anyway, one of our regional VIPs pointed out to me that we need to let our communities know that their tax dollars are at work in our libraries and they need to come see what's happening in the library. So I have that across my knee saying, come to the library and see your tax dollars at work.
And we have an interesting, right at the moment, we're having a new carpet laid in the whole library. It has been one heck of a job.
Wow.
But as of yesterday, the carpet was laid, and now we have to just put everything back. We could not have afforded to do that, because we just don't have that type of income. But the plant across the street, Proliant, is footing the bill completely.
Oh, wow. Good for
We feel
them.
so fortunate,
That is really nice.
yes.
Well, and just in the tiny town of Auburn, I'd like to tell you, a lot of, my city council has seen how you supervisors support us, and they've really stepped up, and they've taken us from, the city council last year took us from 20 hours a week till 30 hours a week. So they supported us for 10 more hours, and a lot of that was because they saw how important you felt we were. So they wanted to jump right in, and I appreciate that.
I think especially in the communities that don't currently have a school, it really is a big deal.
It is a very big deal, where there's no school in the town. It's what they do. They come off the bus and they come into the library.
It's kind of a community center, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of view ourselves more as a community center, and you know, libraries are evolving anyway, we're becoming more of a place of community and resource. So,
Yeah, the bus loads and unloads right in front of the library, so.
I would echo that sentiment in Sac City, because in this year we've partnered with the rec center in providing programming for school children on days that school is out, because we've noticed in the library that quite often kids don't have a place to go when school isn't in session, and they will spend long days in the library without engaged activity. So this school year we try to come up with a day's worth of programming, and it has been extremely popular. Our last day had 50 people, adults and school children coming in, and so for us, having the budget to be able to do that is essential. So we definitely, we want to encourage that. We try very hard to become an integrated part of the community, or to continue to be an integrated part of the community, and seek out opportunities for programming, seek out opportunities for partnerships, and as you said, libraries are evolving, so we are an active part of that. So we continue to have the traditional support of the library, as well as just growing every day.
Shaler, we have a high Hispanic population, and I have tons of things for them to learn in the library, and I proctor tests for people. Seems like they're just really utilizing the library a lot, and kids just love it, so, yeah. So I'm doing a computer class Saturday on how to run your iPad, your iPhone, stuff like that, that I'm myself too, so.
I still have a flip phone, so I haven't.
Another coffee and come.
Any questions of us?
I would just like to, I don't know whether you know it or not, I'm the president of the Sac City's Library Board. And as such, I found out a lot of things deeper than just the surface about all the programs that they provide and all the ways that the community can benefit by using our library. And I'm very, what do I want to say, disappointed, I think, in that we don't have more local people coming in and participating. We get an awful lot of just out on the fringe for books and tapes and that kind of stuff. And I think that it's so terribly, terribly important that we maintain our library in the way that it's meant to be maintained, and right now it has been. And I hope that you will continue to fund us adequately so that we can keep it up, keep it going. Because it's really, I think it's one of the most important places in the town. The city owned especially.
Okay. Anyone else? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yep, we'll let
you.
you know.
Sorry, it's late.
Stay warm.
Yes.
Yeah. One more day, then we can really warm. It's gonna melt this weekend, how about that?
Hope so.
Jerry, did you bring the elevator?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'd still be on about the fourth step. I don't think I'll do any carving tomorrow either, so if you'll let them know.
I will.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Thanks for coming in.
You bet.
I think I saw Amanda in the hall. Amanda, we're.
Watched football game last night.
Most of it.
Who ended up winning?
Ohio State.
They did.
They tacked down a touchdown at the end to make it look like more of a blowout than it was.
Yeah.
It was 42 to
20.
Oh, really? So it got off that far? Because the last score I saw was 21.
We're gonna try and make it a little easier.
their running back had 4
Copy
touchdowns.
those.
Really?
Good morning.
It just seemed like they're
Dominated them.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There was some dispute about whether they were a legitimate top four
Yeah.
contender. Boy, they kind of threw that out of the water.
Yeah,
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. I am here for the Sac County Fair. The second page is a copy of our annual fiscal report. It was in the paper a couple weeks ago too. If you missed it, there's a copy for your perusal whenever you want to pick through that. The first piece of paper is just kind of a synopsis of the upcoming fair. Our fair dates are the 29th through the 1st this year. State Fair bumped their fair back quite a bit this year, so we followed suit and bumped ours back. And we're not on Reg Bri this year, so hopefully that will be a little nicer. Main events for this year's fair: Thursday night we're looking at a rodeo, Friday night will be the tractor pull, and Saturday night will be chuck wagons. For daily entertainment, just kind of the strolling acts around the fair, we'll have Special K the Clown, who is from Holstein. She's been there the last couple of years and goes over really well with the kids. A ventriloquist, a strolling magician, and the face painter. We will have free inflatables again this year. Last year we did free laser tag, and that was a huge hit with the older kids. I mean, there were lines all over the place, which was great. This year we're kind of looking at an inflatable zip line. Be something a little bit different. It's contained, you know, it's an inflatable still, so you're not going to go too far, but I'd be willing to hop on it. So we're kind of looking at alternating some things so that's not the exact same things we've had year after year, and then next year bring back the laser tag, so it kind of alternates a little bit from there. That's pretty much what's happening with the fair. For non-fair entertainment for this year, the horse racing will continue. We're hoping it's a little bit more organized. It started off kind of rough last year, but by the end of the year it was starting to pick up and they had a little bit more organization to it, so we're hoping that continues. The chuck wagon racers have also approached us with using the track to do extra events outside of fair. It would still be a paid event. We were working out kind of a deal with them that all we would do would be to sell the alcohol because it's our liquor license. They would take care of the gate and everything else, and then we would split profits. So that was kind of a new one for us this year. They approached us with that at convention, and we're open to it because it makes more use of our grounds. We have the all-school reunion and the quilt affair for the other bigger things coming up in 2015. Updates. We are looking at doing a lot of projects for 2015, and I just kind of wanted to go back through and hit some of the projects we've done over the last 10 years. The biggest one, of course, would be the grandstand seating. We added onto the fair office to make it handicapped accessible. We added onto the 4-H food stand, the new rabbit and poultry barn. We resurfaced and added drainage to the track, raised the front entry sign to allow better clearance for some bigger equipment onto the grounds. The front half of the swine barn is pretty much basically all brand new. We're working on the second half of that yet this year. The new entertainment center, we've made portable staging that can be carried around the fairgrounds for numerous acts. New beef barn tie-outs, handicapped accessible parking, and the new lattice and stain on the gazebo. And so overall in the last 10 years, that's been about $238,000 to complete all those projects. Projects for 2015 that we're looking at is we received the endowment grant for both to concrete the rabbit and poultry barn as well as to make a new food court area. We also received money from the Renzi grant to finish the swine barn improvements. We need to put a new roof on the 4-H bathrooms, increase the safety and the number of our livestock wash racks, and we've received some money from Farm Credit for that also. And our infield lighting gave us our own fireworks last year, so that's going to have to get fixed this year. So the estimated cost of these projects is about $62,000, and with our grant money, we currently have about $30,000 towards those projects at this time. With the endowment, we have to do the matching, so we've been kind of going after some fundraising in other areas with that. Another project is the Extension Office has approached us with regarding providing wireless internet on the grounds during fair, and this would allow them to utilize an online check-in program for the livestock. So we're looking into that, and also that same online program we might be able to use for our open class entries. So we're kind of partnering up with them to see if their program would be feasible on the grounds. Further down the road, we're going to need a new show ring and a beef barn, and those are going to be a massive undertaking. And that is one area that we are really trying to start progressing towards now, because you're looking at, you know, at least $200,000 worth of buildings when you start considering what those two things are going to cost, because they are very large buildings on the grounds. We also need to replace our infield fence. We would like to do a new equine arena that's closer and more accessible to the public, as well as asphalt the remainder of the track to increase the accessibility, and look at the possibility of creating a hands-on learning barn. But like I said, those are long-term projects that are going to take several years to complete. We are also in the process of updating the fair itself. I have been in contact with Jeremy Parsons from Clay County, as well as Lynn Steffen from Lynn County. They both have greatly improved their fairs over the years and have agreed to work with us to help create more events, more activities at our fair to help make our fair even better every year. We would also like to encourage you to attend a meeting if you ever have the chance. We meet the first Monday night of every month, or first Monday night of each month at 7 at the 4-H building. We have increased our fundraising efforts over the year, as well as grants. We're finding more grants that are available and trying to go after those. And having our 501c3 status has helped that tremendously. That's really opened us up to a lot of different grants and avenues that we didn't have before.
That also allows you to have that money come directly to you
Correct.
Instead of the...
Yep, we don't have to go through your 501c3, we can go through our own now. So that makes a huge difference and kind of frees us up for a few more things than we've had in the past. We also have 2 individuals in 4-H groups, I believe in Wall Lake, that are working towards adding playground equipment to the fairgrounds. This could be used during weddings, auctions, anything. Because right now, during the rest of the year, there's nothing on the grounds for kids besides going across the street to Chautauqua Park. And with the traffic back and forth and weddings, that kind of gets a little scary at times. So they are working on completing fundraisers and different ideas and going after grants for that as well. We would greatly appreciate a 3% increase from last year, but we are comfortable with where we are at if that's not possible. And I do want to thank you for being such great supporters of our fair. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are at. So, and I've been told numerous times that we do have one of the better fairs in our area, and we'd like to keep it that way. So we have also been working with the Association of Iowa Fairs. A couple of our board members have been on committees this past year with the association, as well as have led tabletop discussions and panel discussions. So we're doing something right because they're asking us to be a part of a bigger organization. So.
I would like to ask a couple questions about.
Sure.
I see that you have food court area, and I'm a member of Kiwanis, and it's been very difficult, especially
and
the
that's
last.
where this stems from.
Is that okay?
Yep. It will be replacing the cement in front of the Kiwanis building as well as expanding it, and then adding. You won't have to leave the roadway basically to get to concrete. You're not gonna have to go through grass or gravel. It'll be just cemented from the roadway back, so it'll be more accessible for strollers.
I know that
and
had been
wheelchairs
part of your plans, and I know last year there were a lot of food vendors, and it was I think we probably barely broke even in that, and so.
And
what
we
are
have
your
been
plans
to the
for
Kiwanis and
What are
talked
your
with them
plans for the
specifically.
future for that?
We are going to move all of our food vendors up to the same area. So the 4-H one we can't move, but 4-H is the basis of the fair. So in our opinion, it's only okay or right that they get the majority of, as far as the grandstand stuff goes. The rest of our food vendors have always kind of been behind the grandstands before, and the Kiwanis have already been, where they're at. So with the food court, what we're doing is making a bigger seating area, and we'll have all of our food vendors up in that area, so everybody will have an equal chance. Because with the Kiwanis being so far up from everybody else right now, they don't get that equal chance. So we're bringing everybody else up to them.
And for those two reasons, that's why I was bringing it to your attention. It is difficult, and then the seating area and the area is pretty rough, and quite often the people we are serving are the older folks, and
Right.
boy, you need to be careful.
Walkers and canes and
Yeah.
everything else are really hard to get through there.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where this comes in.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
What's the rationale for the new show ring and equine?
Equine is more of a dream list. What we have now is sufficient. It's just not very accessible. We would like to move the horse building to the south end of the show arena, the horse arena, so that it wouldn't be quite as far to walk. And then if we could asphalt the track, it would all be, easier to get to. The show ring, if you take a really good look at it, it needs new lighting. We have had numerous poles break off in the ground, and we've had to raise the building up to put cement blocks underneath to maintain the building as it is now. The roof, when we had all that snow a few years ago, we kind of patched to make it work for now. If you take a good look at it, it's needing some attention.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a whole lot of improvements done to that beef barn in a lot of years.
No.
It's pretty, one of the, I guess you'd
I
call it
think
one
it
of
is
the
the
original
oldest,
buildings.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, then, you know,
And we
It
use
wouldn't have
that
to
for
be as
beef
big,
and
I mean,
sheep.
what-
Sheep,
yeah. I mean, there's, sheep and
there's a lot
beef,
of activity. in that.
yeah. But it might not have to be as big as,
Well, that's possible.
well, you know, when that was built, you know, we had 250 baby beefs, and now there's, with cows and calves,
Yeah.
and there's probably 50 or 60.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to have a pen of 5 down there too,
Yeah.
that one building.
Yeah.
That's-
But, yeah, it's low. I mean, this year was, some years you're fighting,
Mhm.
if you could bring it up.
Yeah. Well, we have lots of ideas, but funding those ideas are a different story. But,
Well, I'm glad that you're reaching out, and trying to improve that position. That's, I mean, to other entities, and that's a good plan.
and it's always nice to, you know, because Lynn County, their fair had actually just about shut down. And with their fair board that's there now, they turned it around and they've made it back to pretty similar to like Clay County. So I've been talking pretty closely with some of them for ideas and different things.
We still do that, open class for livestock and other,
Excuse me for 1 minute.
and that brings showmen from Ida County and
Kelton.
Calhoun
Calhoun,
County,
yep.
and some from BV.
I think as long as it touches that county, they're able to show.
Right,
Yep.
and that's helped our overall entries.
Definitely.
Is the grants project paid for? Or?
Yep.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Everything is completely paid for at
That
the
was a
moment.
pretty big project.
Huge.
Is that done?
Yes.
You have the-
Yep. It is done and paid for. So, yep. We currently don't owe any money to the bank. And everything is paid for on the grounds. All of our projects, everything. So,
We appreciate all your help. I mean, a lot of people put in a lot of time, and,
Yes.
and it's all volunteer, and
yep.
we do appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, we greatly appreciate your support. So, anything else for me?
Don't believe so.
Thanks for coming in.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can recess until the engineer arrives. We'll come out of recess.
County crews whitening out some areas on the gravel roads where excessive drifting occurred on 1/8. Sanding and plowing paved roads as needed. Blading gravel roads when the temperature allows. Repairing equipment, servicing equipment, cleaning and organizing the shops. Scheduling some road personnel to attend the one-call meeting. Sounds like we're gonna get a little bit of warm weather toward the end of the week.
Yeah, finally.
Finally. Item 3 there, shared county engineer update. Received 5 applicants and Judy had forwarded them to me and I forwarded them on to Renell.
Yeah,
Assume you got them.
I got it.
At this time, I don't think the names should be discussed until, I don't think it's required to make them public till after the interviews, I think. I guess I'm not sure. That's a question I guess you guys would have to check with Ben on. Because I'm sure there's some of these applicants that would prefer that their names not be made public yet. And I'm assuming Scott and Renell will coordinate review of the application and selection of those to, I guess I wasn't sure whether.
Well, I think we had kind of agreed that Renell and Scott, because they started the process, would get it down to the
Scott
interview.
wanted to finish it being
Yeah.
Well, then once we get down to the interview process, then both boards would be involved.
Right, right.
But I think we had agreed that Scott and Rennell would narrow or decide how many.
Well, I assume you'll share it with you guys and
Mhm.
all the applicants and,
I forwarded all the 5 to.
So I guess I'm pleased with having 5 returned applications.
yeah, I guess from the start, I said 5 to 6 is what I was hoping for.
I know in 2001, the pool, we had 2, one guy didn't show up and the other guy we didn't want to hire. So, hopefully.
And 3 of them are existing county engineers, 2 of them are not.
But they're certified, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
So.
yeah. Both of them are working for consultants. I think one of the applicants that had talked to me at the engineers conference, he didn't apply, so I don't know whether he had to change heart. And one of the applicants, I didn't even realize they'd picked up an application, so it was a surprise when I saw the one. But,
Okay.
anyway.
I guess before we start this process, I would ask you, do you have any concern about considering an individual that doesn't have or is not currently operating as an engineer, as a county engineer?
I guess my thought there is somebody that is either a county engineer or assistant that has his PE, you know, is definitely going to know the system with the DOT and et cetera. But, you know, that's something that can be learned, you know, I guess. I guess it all depends what others, you know, what other assets the other guys bring, I guess, to the table.
Sure. Well, that's something that I hadn't asked, and I just wondered what your opinion was.
You know, I think we put in the ad that, I don't remember how we had that, something about county experience, a plus or I don't remember how we had that in there. But no, to me, if they've got the other qualities that, you know, might put them above the other guys, you know, I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I think one thing, and I told Scott, and I haven't really completed it, I was looking through the questions, you know, that they had in the guide, and I thought maybe there should be a couple added that maybe talk more about the sharing, because I think the list of questions there is more looking at a single county engineer. There probably should be some questions in there relative to sharing.
I don't know if we've had this discussion before or not, but I guess my personal preference would be that the individual would live in one or the other of the 2 counties. Do we have the ability to ask that question, or is that something that we can?
We talked about it, yeah.
I don't know that we ever, did we get an answer to that?
I guess I'm not sure legally what you can do. I guess, you know, I guess that's something you'd have to check with Ben for sure, but I would assume that if you wanted to make that stipulation, that you might give them a time period, like within 3 months, 6 months, we expect you to be living.
Wait, I'll ask him that, because I guess that would be, I would like to see that.
Oh,
be the
yes,
case, and
most definitely.
the more to the center, the better. And I know that's difficult, but.
Yeah. And again, you know, feel free to call that Nicole Fox at Local Systems and Names if you got any questions that you want to talk to her about. She might be able to give you some input on that. I guess I'm not sure.
That response time.
Yeah.
Would tie into that. I mean, if you're clear on one side of the 2 county area, it's gonna be hard to be able to respond to both centers.
Well, but I assume that you'd really maybe only be able to say that you need to respond to one center or the other in a given length of time, not necessarily both.
Yeah, I don't know.
you know, with new Highway 20, the vigil, they might look at Fort Dodge as a suitable place to live, because, you know, you pop on that, you could be in Rockwell in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of counties, I think, still try to require the engineer to live in the county, but I guess I'm not sure how.
I mean, I think that's a reasonable demand both for access to
Yeah.
provision of service
Yeah.
plus that county's is paying the bill.
Yeah.
So,
I would think you'd be able to ask the individual if you'd feel comfortable living in one of the counties.
Well, again, I think you need to talk with the county attorney, but I'm sure there's counties out there that still have a requirement that they live in the county. If that's something you want, I think, you know, that's something,
it's important, I
think that's something.
Did you read over the application?
No, I haven't had time to print them out.
I was just curious
No,
if anything caught your eye.
I was working on budget stuff yesterday afternoon, got on my computer late in the afternoon, saw they were all there, and so I quickly, Judy had forwarded them to me, but I hadn't forwarded them to you, so then I sent them on to you, so. But,
Okay.
but no, I was happy to see 5 applicants and.
Yeah.
And,
Anything else going on of significance?
Mike's off for a couple days, trying to use up some of his, he's actually had using up a little sick time like in the last couple days, but he had been using up a bunch of vacation in December there, so. But
Who's the Calhoun County Board Chairman?
Gary is this year.
Gary is? Okay.
I understand that that Dean is still talking about hanging it up here in the next maybe few months, so. But I think he was actually up for the rotation for chairman, but I think with him leaving.
That's why Scott wanted to, I think, continue on this.
Yeah. But
Well, thanks, Ron.
Yep. Have a good day.
yeah, hopefully it's gonna get warmer as the day goes on. Got minus 15 this morning.
At least there wasn't 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Right. That's
Made
what I
a
thought
huge
too when I went
difference,
out
yeah.
too. I wasn't dealing with it.
Well, that snow is hard. The maintainer in my part of it, he must have been working at it yesterday. That's gotta be hard on
Oh,
equipment.
boy.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I was moving snow with a loader and it was tough. But
Yeah. It started off pretty soft, but after the wind
Yeah.
consolidated, it really got
Yeah.
hard. You gotta be careful getting up on top of it and falling through.
very nice.
All right, thanks, Ron.
See you guys.
Any other business?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I think our